Okay, the first stage is done. I've done some videos and I've done some photos of the Sony A7CR with the 28 millimeter, the 40 millimeter, and the zoom 24 to 240. Let's look at some photos. So the first set of 24 pictures are basically of the 28 millimeter. And as you can see, I don't see any barrel distortion. Everything looks good. I use an aperture, shutter priority, auto. When you watch the videos, you'll see how stable it is with each lens. You can see a little bokeh with the 28 millimeter if you get close to your subject, but look how sharp it is. Now, the 28 millimeter, I did have a little difficulty in, I had to keep pressing the autofocus on because sometimes the contrast or the image didn't change. It was either too bright or too dark. Once it came back on, then everything was right. And you can see how sharp it is with the tree. Look at the clouds. Gorgeous pictures. And this is what a 61 megapixel 8K 3x2. You can do 16:9 and other resolutions, but I went full blown. These are huge files, but the nice thing with the 61 megapixels, you can crop in, and you don't have to have, the best lens. Now, you can see the tree, see the clouds, and the houses. Look how everything is sharp. Now, I think I had this in program mode right now, where it doesn't go completely to 3.5 or whatever. It'll go into whatever it thinks is more suitable. But like, here's my dog. I'm scrolling around the house. And I want to make sure one more thing. I think this is still the 28 millimeter. Yeah, it is. And it's at 5.6. And I think that's auto. Okay. I'm going to move this over here so you don't see it. I'll just tell you about it. But it's a 28 millimeter f2. Excellent lens. One of the best. I wanted to show you that. So like if you're taking a picture of the stadium and you want a wide field of view, this is pretty good if you don't want any distortion. Now it's a little bit crooked with the lens right here, but I'll get back here. You can see how everything is sharp. This is the new doggy door I put in for Lucky, who's just picked up as red and black American German Shepherd. I don't know if he's full-blooded or whatever, but he has the attitude of a German Shepherd. But he's going through his teething and puppy stage, and it's driving me crazy. He's ready to shoot up 3 pillows and no wires, thankfully, because I keep an eye on him. He doesn't like to be left alone. My cat is getting used to him, but he still wants to chase the cat, my dog. So it's a test trial right there to see if I'll keep him. And as you can see, 28 millimeters wide field of view. And I love the clouds. Now I'm at the 40 millimeter, and it's an f2.5, and it's a G lens, small and compact. Nice thing about Sony, there's nice, small, and you can carry them. You can carry a nice zoom, 24 to 240, which isn't too big, or you can carry the small primes if you want. And you see, he tore a hole in that pillow, so I had to put that away because he was taking the stuffing out of it. There's my clock. And it's not 3 o'clock, so the battery is dying again. I guess it's the heat in the garage. Seems like I've been putting in the battery every month. Usually it'll last me for quite a while, but the heat does affect it. But anyway, with the 40 millimeter, you can see how closer everything is. You can see how sharp it is. There's no barrel distortion on this either. A lot of people like the 40 millimeter compared to the 50 or 35. You know, it's kind of like in between. I like the Zeiss 55 millimeter f1.8 myself. And I think I got a few specs on my, you know, when I change the lens. It's either on the lens or it's on the sensor. I'm going to have to take a look at it. I'll know the next time I change the zoom. But still, the picture quality is excellent. Neighbor's working on his truck. It's a Gamma 2.2, 40 millimeters. And let's see, any other information? No. This is in shutter priority, okay? So I have a lot of success in the shutter priority with the Sony. It stays in pretty good focus, but in this series, I'm not doing any sports. I'm just taking pictures. And you can see this hornet right there. So let's zoom in on him. That's pretty sharp for a 61 megapixel camera. And look at the bokeh. So you get close to a flower and then you can get the bokeh a little bit right here, even if it was at 5.6 on the aperture. There's the bottom of my crepe myrtle. There's the whole tree. There's clouds. Now, let's look for barrel distortion. I didn't have it straight because the sun was in my eyes, but it's pretty straight. I don't see any barrel distortion, you know, right to left or left to right. It's pretty well straight, the lines. I just had the camera not level. And I think that's the last of the, no, one more 40 millimeter. Now, I'm using the zoom. This is like a 3.5 to a 6.3, 24 to 240 millimeter. Look how close it can get on that photograph compared to where it was. Isn't that something? It's so clear you can see the fabric where the painter painted on it. Same thing here. Zoomed out, zoomed in. And look at my dog. Isn't he a beauty? I think he's gained about 5 pounds since I've been feeding him like a horse. He's eating everything, chewing up everything, playful. Have to walk him twice to calm him down. He's finally using the doggy door without me opening up the door. But look how sharp and clear that is, right? This is a zoom lens. So anyway, 61 megapixels in the dark. It looks good. If I was looking at the ISO, which I'm trying to find. No, I don't see it. Well, anyway. 24 millimeters, 3.5. I don't see the ISO. Oh, well. But there's a farther up shot of the Tiffany lamp, 24 millimeters on the on that kind of like cemented rock, which used to be over a fence post, and that's 240 millimeters. If you can start seeing everything clear and you can see the dirt, this is a great lens and a great camera. So 24 megapixels are good for low light. I've had no problems with this camera in low light. You just adjust the ISO. I do believe it's a dual ISO. So if you make where it cleans up again, I think it's 3200, but I'm not sure. I have no problem with going up to 12800 on this thing. So, and I got software to remove the noise if you have to. But look how everything is sharp. Look at the glass. .24, 240. So I was doing this bush right here. And then there's the close-up. And I did it in reverse that time. And there's the bird nest. So you see, zoom can be sharp too, even at 6.3. This one was at 1/250th of the shutter speed, and it was at 6.3. And the close-up at 240 millimeters, 6.3. And then at 24 at f4 instead of 3.5. And there's my dog, and there's the close-up. And I think that's the last picture. So let's watch some videos, and I'll give you my final thoughts on this. This is with the 28 millimeter. Okay, dynamic active on the Sony A7CR with the 28 millimeter. Sony at f2.8. And And this is the dynamic active stabilization, so you do get a crop. I want to show you how even with this old 28 millimeter, actually it's an f2 I think. I got it at 2.8 for some reason. Let me see if I can bring it to f2. Yeah, now let me. Okay, now I got it. I am now at f2. I don't know if you see the difference. But you have the capability while you're recording at 4K 30 to do that. Some cameras, they won't let you change the settings. So this is in aperture priority. And it's looking pretty good. It's pretty stable. And this is with the 28 millimeter wide field of view. So the first 25 shots will be with the 28 millimeter. Let's go to the next lens. Okay, 40 millimeter. And of course I had the aperture wrong, as usual. But it's automatic mode, it's f11. One thing bad about the Sony lenses is if they have an aperture ring, you're always knocking it loose and you're trying to figure out why the aperture priority isn't working. Then you realize that it's not on auto, where you can fix it. So you can put it at 2.5, which I can do right here. But you know what? You can't see a difference because it's on automatic. But with the stabilization, dynamic active on the Sony A7CR, 61 megapixel camera, and this is not in crop mode, it does a pretty good job on focusing. That's one thing nice about Sony. Now, with the 28 millimeter f2.8, I had to keep pressing the autofocus on so that the contrast would change. So some lenses need to be really updated on firmware, and Sony hasn't done it yet. But anyway, this is a quick video in this mode. Now let's go to the zoom lens. Okay, dynamic active, and it's really cropped in quite heavy. But I'm going to show you two videos. Now this is all at 24 millimeters, okay? It's at f11, but it's just showing you how smooth this video can be. And I'm not walking, I'm just turning in circles, okay? Everything should be in focus. Now I'm going to zoom in. And I might be too close for that. Let's try that one. And you can see how everything is close. It's on his eyes. There's the kid's playhouse, tree house with a slide and swing. Now I'm going back to 24 millimeters. And you can see how smooth that is. So let's go back in the studio and look at this work. Okay, so when I went back to the studio, I forgot to turn on the sound. So I'm redoing this part. My thoughts on the A7CR. Some Sony lenses have the aperture ring. I'm always knocking at, and then I'm trying to figure out why it's not working, and then I realize it's like at a higher number, f22, f16. So you put it back on A and automatic, and then the camera can handle it. The other thing is also the contrast. So you take a picture, and then you focus on something else, and even if you're using the shutter release button, that's not always good. So I always do the autofocus on button on the back. It resets the picture. The contrast is perfect. Then take the shot. I did an auto, shutter priority, program mode, aperture priority. All sharp images. There was a few, excuse me, that I've deleted because of movement of the dog. But basically, you can see how sharp the, even the video was, okay? Stabilization, like I said, there's a crop. When I put it on dynamic active, it's quite of a big crop, but basically it's still a good image. And the only other thing is that if you don't mind a one card slot, that's okay. Remember, this camera is about $3,000. It's been selling for $3,000, and then it went down lower. And then with the price hikes coming up through the tariffs, it went back up. So anyway, you look for deals. You can get secondhand or used. You can also get a refurbish at a lower price. Refurbish, they inspect the whole camera, fix the problem, but then they inspect other things to make sure it's working, operating correctly. So anyway, my thoughts. 2 primes, 1 zoom, all images are clear. It's a great camera. It will overheat if you go like 4K 60 in the summer heat. It will overheat pretty quickly. I usually do 4K 30, and I'm happy with that. Some people like the 4K 24. I get too much shaking, stuttering when moving the camera in video. So that's why it's 4K 30. You can do 1080p 30 or 60 and never have to worry about overheating unless the camera is directly underneath the sun. Okay. Photographs, I showed you that you can crop in and they look fantastic. So anyway, thank you for watching. Remember, stay safe, keep smiling, and I will see you next time. Bye, folks. Have a wonderful day.